Welcome to Get Over It, the consciousness transforming podcast for exceptional 21st century living. We have got a unique show today. We're going to be talking about the book Sacred Energies of the Sun and Moon, Shamanic Rituals of, and I'm going to get this wrong, but she's already forgiven me, Curanderismo. And it's by Erika Buenaflor. And folks, if you are interested in Mayan information, Mesoamerican information, Mexican spiritual information, this is your show. She puts a very unique twist on bringing this ancient information to life so that it's usable right now, today, in today's technology. Now, the information shared on Get Over It uses intuitive and pragmatic insight to help you shift your consciousness to break through the blocks and release energy that is no longer needed. Yes, we're going to help you let go of the BS that is holding you back. But you guys know I always ask that question, are you truly ready to? And by the way, BS is belief system. Now, a bit about me for my new listeners. Intuitive since birth. I'm a third-generation intuitive with over 3 decades of experience supporting people to break through the blocks along their path. I'm a strategist for personal and professional transformation, revealing cutting-edge information that enables you to prosper and thrive. I spent 25 successful years in corporate America as an executive sales professional, and I am the founder of Healing Visions Ministries and the Northern California Children's Education Network, a 501c3 nonprofit. I also authored 2 books. I provide consultations and healings in all areas of life that heal the mind-body-spirit connection, allowing you to live your very best life. My clients tell me that I keep it real while providing them with accurate information to assist them along their journey as a spirit living a human existence. But they also say, if you really don't want to know, don't ask Monique. My background includes a doctorate in metaphysics, Reiki master teacher, ordained minister, and clinical hypnotherapist. So whether you are stressed, depressed, or possessed, I can help. To find out more about me and the services that I offer, go to my website, and that's MoniqueChapman.com, and I invite you to like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and LinkedIn. My guest today, Erika Buenaflor, has a master's degree in religious studies with a focus on Mesoamerican shamanism from the University of California at Riverside. A practicing curandera, and she'll correct me on that, for more than 20 years, descended from a long line of grandmother, and they're basically healers, and she has studied with healers in Mexico, Peru, and Los Angeles. After healing from a catastrophic energy, she embraced her gifts of healing, which eventually she left her career as an attorney, and now she spends her time doing what she absolutely loves. She has written 2 other books that we're going to touch on briefly, and she utilizes her knowledge in healing and Mesoamerican shamanism to inspire clients to realize their bliss. And you can check her out at her website, and that is realizeyourbliss.com. Again, realizeyourbliss.com. Welcome, Erika.
Thank you, Monique. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about our show today.
I am excited too. So, help me with the language here and the energy of it. So, Sacred Energies of the Sun and Moon, and the subtitle is.
So the word is pronounced curanderismo.
Okay, I'm not going to get that right. So what other word can we substitute for that? I'm just not going to murder it. Okay, I'm just not. I get the energy of it. I just can't say it.
You could just say healing practice, Latin American healing practice. That's actually perfect. Yeah.
Okay, great. Now, I want to start out with, you're a practicing, or was a practicing attorney, and you kind of left that and you're doing your bliss. I absolutely love that, because so many people are trained, because we're told as a child that, we need to do a certain thing or be a certain thing. And you just said, I did that, not fulfilling, and you flipped the script and you did what you wanted to do. But it kind of took you like this little accident that you had back in, I forget the year, but it was in Las Vegas at Rock Canyon Falls. No, at Rock Canyon, where you fell. So tell people about that first and how that helped you trans into who you are today.
So basically, so my accident in 2005 at Red Rock Canyon in Vegas, Prior to that, I had been mentoring with principally with two curanderas. And we say curanderics when it's just outside of the gender binary, so a woman and a man, and Barbara and Thomas. And during that time, I was still moving forward in my career as an attorney, and I just kept getting drawn to these practices of curanderismo. It was something, my great-great-grandmother was a very well-known curandera, so I feel that it was definitely in my culture. It was definitely in my blood and my roots. And when I fell, I woke up, I was airlifted, and 3 days later, I was told that I had a skull fracture, a brain hemorrhage, left AC dislocated, 2 vertebrae in my back fractured. I completely shattered my coccyx. Left leg, I fractured it in 3 places. Right leg, knee down, all of my bones shattered and came out of my heel. Ooh. And they told me because my coccyx was shattered, they couldn't do anything about it. They're like, sorry, you're going to be in pain the rest of your life. And when they put the bones back in my heel, they didn't do a culture. So as a result, 6 weeks later, they found out that I had severe osteomyelitis, which is an infection of the bones, and that bacteria was literally eating away at my bones.
Oh, wow.
So I lost half the bones of my right ankle. So there was a big question mark. If I walked again, because I'd lost half of my bones, it was going to be definitely with some kind of assistance. And when I gained consciousness 3 days after my accident, because I was in and out the first 3 days with all the surgeries and whatnot, I really decided to embrace my don, which is a Spanish word for the healing gift from God, which I know we all have. I just decided, I said, you know what, I can't doubt myself anymore. If I continue to doubt myself, I am going to be handicapped the rest of my life. I have to step into my gifts. I have to step into what I know to be true. And I was in a wheelchair for almost a year, but after not walking for almost a year, I put into practice everything that I learned from my mentors, and I mean everything. And I learned quite a bit, everything from working with herbs, with acupressure points, with different kinds of energy practices and clearing practices and whatnot. After not walking for almost a year, I walked with a completely normal gait in less than 2 weeks and remained 100% pain-free. So after that point, I just said, okay, you have my attention. I'm not going to be stubborn anymore. I was pretty stubborn. I was thinking, because I got involved in work as an attorney because I really had my heart in social justice. I was very much involved in social justice movements in college and in law school, and that's what I thought I was going to be doing. So I thought that that's how I was going to be, quote unquote, helping people in that way. And I did it. I did it for some time. I tried my best to find a way to make it work. And I realized it's like, I did what I did, and I served my time.
I like that. Served your time. Let me out of jail, please. I
served my time, and I did good work. And but after my accident, I decided it's like, let me kind of figure things out, because and also for my family, it was a big thing. It's a big thing. I come from, both of my parents were immigrants, and my mom, after my father passed away, was shot, she was the first person in our first side of the family to go to college. My father was also the first person. He was actually the youngest person to graduate from college at 16. He learned how to speak English while he was in college and got an engineering degree. So you better believe their daughter was going to go and be a professional as well.
No choice, right?
It was really, I just said, let me take a step back. Maybe I'll go. I went back to school, grad school, took some time to figure things out, and I really wanted access to, one of the main things, I really wanted access to our ancient codices, which are books from the indigenous peoples of our practices. And it wasn't necessarily that my mentors didn't know these things, because a lot of these things are orally passed down. It was that a lot of times I didn't know the questions to ask that would elicit the responses. So I went back to school, just took some time because I wasn't sure if I was going to go be a professor, if I was going to be in academia, and teach something along those areas, and took time there, and I really got in touch, connected with my roots in a very different, not different, but deeper way. Because I started understanding and realizing where all what I thought was intuitive also, where it came from. This wasn't something that I was just, no, these are something that our indigenous ancestors also did with all these different Liga practices. So it was huge. It was really a beautiful shift and a beautiful process, which is, I feel, it's very common nowadays for a lot of us practitioners. It's not this neat little road anymore, because it's a different reality now.
Yes.
We have a different kind of different kind of a set of structure, and we have different things going on than back in the days, 50 years ago, when people were studying curanderismo.
Yeah. Now your
before then.
Yeah. So your great grandmother was in this line of work. Was your mom
great
too?
Great grandmother.
Oh, your great grandmother.
My great grandmother.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you energetically tap into her energy at all? Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I remember doing my very first Liga, which is a energetic shamanic cleanse, at 5 years old. I had but I did it. I was already doing it. I did it with a battery,
Oh,
I
okay.
just lay down. I was cleansing the person, and I was clearing the energy. But it was things that I knew. I knew this was something that was me. And then, those traditions are still very much around in our cultures. We still work with a lot of herbs. We still do a lot of home remedies that are still around that come from, our ancestors. And it's like, okay, well, let me go back and study these things and bring them back and help us understand why we're doing what we're doing, and give us more roots in it. Because it's also a big part of our soul loss with a lot of colonialism and colonization, of figuring out who we are, where are our roots, where our ancestors. And I think it's a very huge thing for a lot of us who have come from a history of colonization and all kinds of complex factors to give us roots and services.
Yes, and what I love about your books, Sacred Energies of the Sun and the Moon, especially in this time of the pandemic, your book, first of all, is historical. It also provides real-world, today information so that we can heal ourselves. And what my takeaway from it was about, going back to the earth, being grounded, but also slowing down and opening up our channels of receiving information. And if you cured yourself after that horrific experience that you went through, my goodness, we could use this information to heal ourselves today. Now, do you think that the information shared in this book could help us with healing ourselves if we came down with corona, or building up our energy so that we can escape this dis-ease that is going on right now?
Well, I can't speak specifically for the COVID, because I really feel that that's something that in terms of boosting our immune system, absolutely. But people also need to eat well too, which I do address aspects of it too in the book, Sacred Energies of the Sun and the Moon, because the way that they lived. And this was a very poignant example for me when I read this, and I kind of had an aha moment. So I was already starting to do this intuitively. Their biggest meal of the day was usually at high noon, at the time where the sun is at its zenith, at the very peak of it. And that was their biggest meal of the day. And, they ate, of course, in the evening, but their biggest meal was in the noon, which actually is really good for our body, our digestive system. We might have soup, we have something smaller, but our biggest meal is when we have that most energy during the day, and our body can handle that. So, of course, we have to honor ourselves physiologically as well as energetically.
Well, it's amazing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So, it's in the book, I really tried to write it in relation to everyone's lifestyle, Because honestly, even though I would say, I'd love to say that I slowed down, I don't think I really have slowed down. If anything, I started learning how to hustle, but I started hustling and doing things that I love to do.
Okay.
I have a jam-packed day. I have a jam-packed day, but all the things that I do, I love to do. So, and that's the thing, because when we're in transitioning, when we're doing something else away from the corporate or creating our own business or whatever, yeah, we got to hustle. That's just plain and simple. I mean, yeah, we slow down maybe in moments, and that's been a wonderful thing for a lot of people for the COVID is they've been able to slow down and actually reflect on self-care, especially the people that were just running and running and running and running and weren't doing anything that they loved, and getting sick from that in various kinds of ways. But my book really addresses doing ceremonies that are both for the person who has a really busy day, has different rites that we can do, whether it's mantras, whether it's doing 5 minutes of breath work, 10 minutes of breath work, that are ways of connecting with, because these energies are very, the dawn energies creation and tapping into that. It's something that also inspires us, hopefully, to begin to living our life and treating our life as being sacred, and not just treating our life like, okay, this is the time where I meditate, this is the time, but finding ways to also integrate our life, whether we're slowing down or we're hustling or we have time to, engage in a more elaborate rite. It's something that is made for any kind of lifestyle, whether you want to slow down or whether you have a busy day and you want to do the things that you want to do, or you want to incorporate more of the things that you want to do. Because I really feel that there's no real answer. I think for a lot of us, yes. This time of the pandemic has been wonderful because a lot of people had an opportunity to slow down, and they were doing a lot of things that they didn't like doing. But then there's a lot of people who actually, in business-wise, because a lot of people were taking care of their health, their business actually moved up.
Exploded, yes.
I've been speaking to a lot of, and they're just like, they're very grateful for that, and they're, it's a mixed bag of things. It's a mixed bag of things, and I really try to intend on writing the book for anybody, no matter what your lifestyle is, no matter what's going on, what you have time to do, there's something there for you where you can access these sacred energies and start approaching our life in a more sacred way, because that also helps with what's known as self-directing neuroplasticity. Changing the way, and this is something physiologically too, and energetically as well, that if we start approaching our life as, this is the time where I meditate, this is my boring time when I go to work, or I have to drive my kids, or I have to do, wash these dishes, or we start treating our life as like sacred, everything that we're doing, and being more mindful of that, we become healthier. We start wiring our neurons to start telling us like, hey, right now it's time to release dopamine, a creativity hormone. Right now is the time to release serotonin. So whether it's just energetically or it's physiologically, it's a way of tapping into these energies that affect us on so many levels, on so many beautiful levels. And it's really, I really crafted the book for any kind of lifestyle and any kind of path.
Well, I love in the book that there's someplace in the book that you wrote, you can spend 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or, longer, but love yourself, to nourish yourself each day energetically, and I absolutely love that. Now, in the book, you also talk about being in the energy of gratitude when you're doing your rituals. So before we talk about a couple of rituals, can you explain to us why we need to be in the energy of gratitude and not just peace?
Well, gratitude is something that generally it feels good.
Yes.
And, it feels good. It feels good to be in gratitude. And it's usually when we think of like, okay, what are we grateful for? Who are we grateful for? Hopefully we can think of one person or one situation we are genuinely grateful for. And those good feelings, like as I mentioned, all those things, they also affect us on a physiological level, an energetic level, because everything is related. We have auric fields around us. We have our etheric body. We have our emotional body, our mental body, and all those things work like magnets. We start attracting more things to be grateful for. We start attracting more synchronicities into our life. And even if you don't believe in energy work, it affects us on a good level too. It keeps us healthy.
Yeah, well, trust
keeps
me.
Us releasing good hormones.
Yes,
so
our listeners
definitely
believe in energy work, because that's where it's at. Allopathic medicine is good and it's useful to a degree, but I think that, the future is light medicine. The future is energy medicine. And the information that you put out in your book, Sacred Energies of the Sun and Moon, definitely is supporting that. Now, in the book, you talk about working with the energies of the sun, the night sun, and the moon. So tell us more about that.
So, generally speaking, so the day sun, it's believed that there are certain periods of the day that they have certain kinds of energy. So generally, the sun, it was believed to release what's known as in Nuado Sonali, in Yucatec Mayan, or actually Tetzian Tetzales, Chuyel, and that's soul energy. That's soul energy. And that's energy that revitalizes us and gives us momentum to change, to do things in the day. Just gives us energy just generally, and gives us deep energy also for many different kinds of things. So the day sun in the morning, it's like creation. Generally it's creation, manifestation, and then the mid-sun, it's the afternoon sun, and the noon sun was when we are in our peak power, and the afternoon is releasing things. The nighttime sleep shift, and we can start changing. We can start, and they did a lot of dream work, accessing dream work. So they believe at night that's when we shapeshift. And I don't mean just physical shapeshift. That's when we start, even our cells start changing and, healing and changing into something else. And we start accessing what are known as the nonordinary realms. The underworld, the middle world, and the upper world. And we do this while we sleep. Our light bodies, and I talk about this in the context of shamanic dreamwork, dreaming is in many levels, because we dream in a multidimensional sense, and there's a lot of movies that reference this too. I'm forgetting the names of the popular movies about dreams. Inception, that's what it's called, Inception, where they reference it that we dream. We don't usually dream just one dream at the same time, but whatever is pertinent to us, that's a dream that we remember. So, and that's a little bit much, but the shamanic dream work, that is something we can be processing our day. We can be doing soul retrieval while we're dreaming, and that's a lot of times we have reoccurring dreams of, there's pieces of us like trying to get our attention, like, hey, can you address me now?
Please, it'll make your life easier.
Yeah, there's still a part of me that needs that healing. And they actually engaged in ceremonial practices where they would prepare the person going in and engage in ritual ceremonies for dream work. And usually later on at 3 o'clock in the morning, approximately, is when we have most of our dreams, because that's when we start experiencing longer periods of REM, rapid eye movement, which is usually when we have our dreams. And they believe that was also a time where it was a space where we can access wisdom. It was a liminal space. It was a space where, it would depend on what we would wake up from and what we would engage into. And so the night sun gives energy for transformation and realization and remembrance, and the day sun gives us that power, that strength to get, create something beautiful in our day. So that's generally what it is. And there's various nuances that I talk about in the book for every specific period, in the in the dawn, the morning, and the noon and the afternoon, and then there's different periods at nighttime as well.
And folks, she actually gives rituals for each of those time frames. Okay, and she talks about when is the time to create, when is the time to, kind of release. So she covers the whole gamut, which I truly enjoyed. And again, being a different culture than mine, it was very eye-opening to learn some of these techniques. We're speaking with Erika Buenaflor, I should say, and the book is Sacred Energies of the Sun and the Moon, and her website is realizeyourbliss.com. Again, realizeyourbliss.com. So you talked about it a little bit about, high noon, and, maybe that's around the time that you want to eat your biggest meal. Talk to us about why high noon is so important.
So the high noon was believed that that's when the principal deity was Tripochli, and it was conflated with various deities, but that was one of their principal deities was at his peak in power. That's when the sun, because these were people that adored the sun, adored nature, adored the moon, adored the sun. Specifically, they were identified as people of the sun, was at his highest power. So we also wanted to do something to correlate to be in our highest power as well. We wanted to nourish our body to make sure that it would sustain us, so we would be at our highest power. And so that's something that was believed in. There were different, and it's basically an understanding of it wasn't very complicated, understanding where the sun is at. It's when it's new, it's coming out of dawn, it's something that's creation, it's something that inspires us. And then right at sunrise was when we are in a space of manifestation. And that's when they did their baby birthing rites. A space when they would tell the baby what their trade was going to be, what their name was going to be, what their destiny was going to be. And then in the morning when they did a lot of their house linkage, they went around and did a lot of house linkage, which are cleanses for the house, because you wanted to start out your day with a clean space, with a clear space, so you could also think clearly as well. And it was just very practical, and it correlated a lot with what's going on with the energies of the sun and what we feel and how the sun affects us physiologically as well. Okay.
All right, so let's switch gears and talk about the moon for a moment. As we're listening to this in the first week of November in 2020, boy, the year has gone so fast. We're experiencing a waning moon. What energies, what can we do during the waning moon? Because that's a time of release, right? And I know you have a wonderful exercise on releasing breath work that's not very long or very difficult to do.
So basically the waning moon was believed to be, that's when the moon is getting, it's gone full, now it's decreasing, right? So it was identified as, generally it was identified as an older woman, with their performances as a grandmother. Sometimes in some cases with some Maya peoples and different tribes within that region, they were identified as a grandfather as well. It could be a shape-shifting gender as well, especially if they wanted to change something. If there was, for example, a plague, or there was something that was liminal, something that could be threatening to the community, was they brought in third gender deities. And one of them that was very popular was the moon, because the moon could also take on third gender deities. And it wasn't necessarily, it could be whatever was needed that was something that was liminal. They were very important to bring on a different change. So the waning, if you wanted something to be gone, you would then invoke the energies of the waning moon, and in correlation with that, you could either do, somebody that was a grandmother, because there was wisdom in that. There was also, There was wisdom, and there was also like a slight. You didn't know whether it was could be something that would be good or bad. So you wanted to work magic and rituals to make sure that it would go in a direction that it would be something positive for the community. That whatever was being released would be something beneficial to the community. So waning, there's different breath works that we can do, that we can correlate, and different things that we can ask for to be released for the waning moon. We can do various things and to shift out of something that we want to let go of and invoke, because the moon is also thought of something as our magical mojo. So the sun gives us will and power. The moon provides magic, provides that space of, and that very much correlates with their calendar to their for example, the Maya, the Hab, that was the solar calendar, 365 days. And then the moon, well, at least we believe that in many traditions it was related to the moon. That was a divinatory calendar. That was in association with the moon and magic. So with the moon, that's when you want to think of, like, you want to do magical rites. So if you want to do a ceremony that involves some magic with the decrease, then you would work with the waning moon, and you'd also may want to consider working with the night sun as well. And that's because there's transformative energies that give power for transformation. If you just want to focus just on decrease, then you would just focus on the afternoon sun, giving power towards that. So it's various ways of nuancing our ceremonial rites and our bodies and our manifestations, our abilities to manifest something. So, with the waning moon, I have a breathwork exercise, and I have various breathwork exercises. And the breath, one of the things with the breath too, because I had a question somebody really sweet asked me in one of my classes I remember a while back, asked me like, well, that's great, we're doing a lot of Eastern things with, doing breathwork with mudras, hand postures. That's what mudras, one of the type of mudras are hand postures as well. There's also body mudras and facial mudras. And breathwork, these are all Eastern things. Do we do anything there from Mesoamerican traditions? And I said, well, have you seen anything from the codices? Have you seen any of the artwork of the Maya, of the indigenous peoples? Breathwork was very important for them. Mudras, hand postures, are pretty predominant in most of the images. So are body asanas as well. And they relay something. There's a language in that, and that's what actually has been translated by a lot of wonderful wonderful Mayanists and Mesoamericans that have been understanding their language. And the breath work is also a wonderful way to release and cleanse our energy. It's a way to cleanse our soul. It's a way to cleanse our soul energy and revitalize it. It's a way, especially if we are able to just sit in silence and connect with the waning moon. And if we want to connect with the night sun too, to give us power to set that intention. And, we can also do some shamanic movement, which is, just very gently shaking our body, opening our eyes 1/10, doing a very simple gaze and doing breath work and releasing. That's a very powerful way to release energies and to move stagnant energies as well. And it's a wonderful way to revitalize our energy if we connect with that night sun for transformation, and then we get our magical mojo on with the moon.
Okay, well, in your book, you have so many different baths, and I think they're wonderful. So why is the bath so important?
The baños, the baths? So
yes.
The baths are something that it's something that you can think of in both. Again, when I approach this in a way that I really try to cater this for everyone. And yes, that's wonderful. It's energetic and physical as well. Energetic, when we are able to use, because all herbs have cleansing properties. And this is generally, right? And then flowers, generally, most flowers give us that happiness, that joy, that creation. And I have one baño in there, for example, for the morning period, and then going into sunrise and then going into morning, is that it helps us to, especially if we're taking a baño with flowers.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a list of various flowers that we can use to, depending on what our intention is. If we want to bring in more love, we may bring in some roses. If we want to bring in peace and clarity, we may bring in lavender, chamomile to change any misfortunes to great fortunes. And we would make a very concentrated tea. And, so for example, if you have a coffee maker that makes 12 cups of coffee, you would make a handful of either herbs or flowers or a combination of both and put it where you would put the tea or the coffee. And you'd put a filter, of course, and then you get your pot and you use about 6 cycles, which is about 12 full, pots, and you pour it into your bath. And, that gives a very concentrated tea into the bath. And when we cleanse our system, we go in there, we also use I recommend to use 2 cups of Epsom salt. All those things help dump out toxins from our bodies on a physical level, and also energetically speaking, too, it cleanses our energy body.
Yes.
It cleanses our etheric bodies, our emotional, our mental, our astral, our template, our celestial, causal, all of our bodies. So we are dumping out any toxins, any negative energy, anything that's weighing us down, and we are fortifying it with these beautiful energies from nature. And then especially if we connect with it, with our intention, and we connect and we thank the water, we thank the plants for blessing us, we connect with the sun if we're working with the morning, and that will strengthen, especially after we do a baño and then we shower off with cold water. We use hot and cold hydrotherapy. Afterwards, we feel like $1 million. We feel like $1 million, and it's just such a refresher.
Yes.
It's
now,
such
question.
a refresher.
What if one doesn't have a bathtub that they can get in? Can they create the tea and either spritz themselves in the shower, or how would that work?
So I recommend in the book, and I recommend generally to invest in a kid-sized pool.
Okay.
You can use a bucket. People can use a bucket. Of course, in the morning when I wake up, I use spritzers. I do that every morning. I spritz myself in the morning, and and that's. But it's so much more powerful when we can just soak in it. It's so much more powerful when we could just let our energy bodies, because our energy bodies are, they're also connected to our physical body. And then, we can, obviously, we can, of course, right? So we can just soak in it, and we're soaking into energy, and we're allowing our body to detox, to dump out toxins, to release energies, on a physical and energetic level. And then we're soaking in, and then we're soaking into these beautiful high vibrations from the plant. So, and then we cleanse ourselves off with it. It's spritzers work. Of course, if we're in a hurry, like I said, I do it every morning, and then we can gift ourselves time to soak in it. Either in a kid-sized pool or in a bathtub. That's phenomenal.
Okay, so folks, it's important to take the time, and she's right on with the baths and the releasing, and that's part of what I use when I do spirit release therapy. I give you homework, or pre-homework, I should say, to do, and a lot of it entails using baths and different herbs and salts and whatever. And think about it: if you can get rid of it in your etheric bodies, all those bodies, not the physical, you don't bring it into the physical because it's in our etheric bodies before it comes into the physical. So, this book is full, chock full of different rituals, baths, energetic ways of working with the sun and the moon for your better life. And if you decide to do it, it does work. It truly does work. Now, Erika, when we go to your website, realizeyourbliss.com, what are we going to find there?
So you're going to find events that are both online and in person.
Mm-hmm.
Because after the pandemic, we decided, we need to just continue doing this online for people, because we found a lot of people that were out of state that were really interested in the different classes that we do.
Mm-hmm.
And you also find my list of services that I offer, different types of curanderismo, non-shamanic forms of cleansing, soul retrieval, and readings, and just various services. And of course, we do a shamanic serpent journey that's on there as well, and the list of books that I have, and the about me. So that's basically generally what it is. And then I also have online media classes that are just a staple there for everybody, because that's the basic fundamentals of how to do cleansing, with our elements of water, fire, and space cleaning, energetic space clearing, and also what I call barida, sweep, and sweeping out energy. And these are all, practices that stem from the indigenous peoples of the Americas, and other people, of course, around the world have used these types of practices as well, maybe in different ways. So.
Okay, and folks, on November 12th, she has a virtual new moon sound bath class, welcoming in blessings and gratitude. And after the election on the 3rd, no matter which way it goes, we're going to need some blessings and be in the energy of gratitude. So definitely check that out. Now, can they register for that online?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, they can. I have their instructions of they can Venmo or they can Zelle, and of course if they contact me, they can use PayPal or Cash App, and they can just put their email address, and I'll put them on the list, and they can definitely register online for that.
Okay, and then she also has listed on her website her other 2 books, and that's Cleansing Rites and Soul Retrieval. And folks, again, very powerful information if you're looking to shift your energy to the positive. If you've been stuck and you can't let go of something, her work works. She will help you, even through her books, to help you have a better life. We're so blessed to have Erika with us. Now, Erika, we're at the end of our show, but what pearl of wisdom would you like to leave with our audience today?
Is hopefully that we move forward and we treat our life as being sacred. And everything that we do, we are more mindful of it and moving in gratitude towards it. Yes.
Very well said. So thank you for being with us today, and thank you to the audience for being with us as we collectively get over it. I'm truly honored, and I appreciate your time and attention. And please remember that the most important choice that you can make is what you choose to make important. Consider making the masterful choice of exploring the sacred energies of the sun and the moon. Abundant blessings, light and love to all. Agape.